Welcome to Bold Encounters. I have with me today, which is very rare, a former client. She worked for a big healthcare brokerage. She's got a lot of other interesting career stops, but she has a fascinating life too. Oh my word. Shayla Hubbard, how did I get you? Thanks for joining me.
Thanks so much, Mark. I'm so excited for this conversation.
I want to start out really quickly. We're going to talk about some harrowing, crazy stories, but I want to talk really quickly about you've got many stops. You've got sales. You've got entrepreneurship. You've got a lot of corporate life. You've got account management type executive roles. If I forced you to pick something that was the most valuable you could think of off the top of your head to offer a leader that's having a crossroads experience in their career or a young person that's wondering where the heck to go, what would you tell them about figuring out their career direction and how to make it better?
You are in the best spot. And the reason why is because it is the sink or swim that will force you to make the leap to something better. Because if you're comfortable and you're just casual about whatever you're doing, you're likely not going to make a switch because it's cozy. But if you can feel that desperation, like I will literally die if I don't leave this, that is where action goes. So please, whoever's listening to this, do not fret. You're like in the perfect spot because the next step is literally the best.
That is so great. I have to ask you about something since you brought that up. I want to ask you about the other side too. I have this strange thought so often in my independent life with my tiny little team. I work some big places. I've led, co-led, CEO. I've led big teams and been in big places as an employee. And those big places are frustrating sometimes. However, I have this strange kind of business fantasy where if you went back in time knowing it's going to end anyway. Like you said, they're feeling desperate. They might switch and leave and go do their own thing or find a different place. But if you're going to leave anyway, just figure out if you could stay right there on that platform with all the people that you already know and you could create something unbelievable that no one would believe you could, why not take a shot at it? If you're going to part ways anyway, I would react to that positively or negative. What are your thoughts about that? Is that just too big of a dream?
No, it's honestly, it takes me back to when we were working together because that was the moment when I went from working in corporate for almost 10 years. It was 9.5. And I went from complete corporate, making multiple six figures, and then jumping and was completely self-employed. And that was so scary. It was so terrifying. And I'm not saying that this is the path for everybody, but for me, it was. And it was so beautiful. And I personally feel the fear when I was telling my colleagues where I was going, because what I was doing, it seemed so dumb compared to what I was doing then.
So brave.
I had to sit with the discomfort. I'm like, this is literally what I'm doing. So, and that's making videos. I'm going to make marketing review videos for companies who sell on Amazon, which then translated to TikTok. So it's like, I'm literally trying to be an influencer over here, but I know I'm making good money. So I'm going to jump ship, and that's going to be a stepping stone to what we'll get to at the end, which is my true passion, which is our kids' YouTube channel. So
I love that. We're going to talk a lot about both of those, but I love that you just shared that. I mean, I'm so selfish, but I was there. I witnessed it, and I didn't ever hear that particular angle on it. And in remembering back to think that you're the head of commercial relationships at a really great company, brand new building, beautiful place to work, wonderful people, and you walk in and say, goodbye, I'm going to make a ton of videos every day.
Exactly.
That's crazy. But it worked. Let's talk about that part. Let's talk about the video Amazon thing first, and then we'll go back to some other things and go around your life. There's a lot of interesting things in this part of your career. Tell us about that.
It started where it was this sink or swim starting point, and I honestly feel like it started even before I was at that company. It was before where the bulk of my career was, which was in medical sales, where I was at for 8.5 years. And I had 2 kids during that time in my career. And it's interesting going from corporate boss woman to then being a mom. That was a shocker because I'm like, there's so many conflicting pieces of being career driven, but also wanting to be a mom. And it's so beautiful. It's such a wonderful, transformative, it's honestly a metamorphosis, really. You can't go back. And if you fight it, the pain is so bad. So you have to just lean into it. And you could apply that however you want, whether it's my story or yours. But anyway, going from that corporate setting, it's like I needed to make a change because I needed to be at home with my kids because I was traveling every single week, gone multiple days, and seeing that I'm calling my nanny on the weekends saying, what does my daughter like to eat? Or what is her nap schedule? And I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh man, that hurts really bad. When all I want is to be a stay-at-home mom, but finances weren't in a place where I was able to. And so making the jump from that corporate career in medical sales, which is a very reputable industry to be in, and then switching roles to then where I was only working 3 days a week, making just as much money, and trying to accommodate the whole motherhood thing while still being in corporate. And ultimately, my end goal was I want to be a stay-at-home mom, but I also want to be an entrepreneur because, I attribute it to my dad because he's an entrepreneur. All my brothers are entrepreneurs. My husband's an entrepreneur. And so I feel like it's just in my blood. It's the people who I associate with. And ultimately, I've always just wanted to grow something and found that even in the corporate setting, I found myself working longer than I had to, working and just trying to build something bigger and build something better. Just felt like that's just what I wanted to do, right?
One of the things that's really impressive about you, before I ever knew you, you worked years and years at Boston Scientific selling, number 2 in the entire company. And so go back to the beginning of that, because you had a totally different mindset, likely, heading into that. Tell us about that experience and how that getting your first big job and why that and all the things that were going on in your head way back then.
That is a time traveling experience and request their mark.
Yeah. Dude, go back there for a second for us.
Go back for a second. I had just graduated and my husband and we just got engaged and we dated for several years, but we had how long was our engagement? 4.5 weeks. It was quick.
Oh, wow.
But we knew, we were talking marriage for a long time and anyway, we knew each other, but there was a point right after college, it's well, we're going to move in but hey, I think I'm going to interview for a job that's going to take me to Seattle. And so do you want to come with me? Let's do this. Let's get married. Let's go. And long story short, Boston Scientific had me stay in Salt Lake, but we got married quick and we were ready to go to Seattle because that's where I accepted the job originally.
Wow.
But it was so fun to have no limit. So if you're listening to this and you don't have kids and maybe you want kids in the future, I feel like this is the ultimate time for you to really lean into your career. I feel like a lot of times maybe folks in this category can get casual or just maybe lean into more of yourself in just getting by and maybe just hanging out with your friends and stuff. But it's literally once you have kids, your time goes from 24 hours a day to the most small sliver ever. And so, and also you're not the focus anymore. Even too, before you get married, you are your only responsibility. Then when you get married, you have to split the desire of the things that you want. You're not the only person who has a say. And then you start growing your family and you just start taking more of a back seat. And it's a beautiful back seat because you're just not as selfish. And it's not even being single though isn't selfish. It's just leveling up in life, honestly.
As you listen, I just want to let you know that there's more we're trying to help you with. Valuable benefits we've invested in for members of our Bold Encounters Club. We've also created a way for you to just see if these advantages help you. Go to boldencounters.tv and join, and you'll get a free month's access to experience premium guidance, tools, and the care that we've invested in this work. At boldencounters.tv, you can also give club access to someone else you think may want more meaning or need more money in their life's work. Stay with us today, and at the end, you'll hear all about these great benefits. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, Brian is an interesting spouse because you guys move so fast together. I mean, it seems to me, you know, I'm a little bit ahead of you in life, obviously, and I just admire the heck out of both of you. You guys attacked life as a team, and there's something really fun about that, don't you think?
It is, for sure.
Because it's not very popular anymore, and so I hear the advice like, be careful, pour it on right now. But I think it seems like that's a phenomenon that's become huge, and everyone's ignoring the other part where they can partner and be a team and cooperate and think and talk and you guys do it so beautifully. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on that, honestly.
Well, it's funny. It started out when we were dating, and Brian, my husband, he owned a window washing company. That's what he did to, you know, get through college, and that was his job. And so he started that business and did it for maybe 5 years until they sold. But I was an employee for 2 days when one of his employees couldn't make it. And he's like, hey, Shay, come with me and come wash some windows. And we almost broke up because we just did not work well together. And I'm like, you need to treat me like a girlfriend. Like, sorry, I can't wash this window as well as you can. This is my first time, you know. But it's been so fun because obviously I started out in corporate, but now we're literally business partners and have been for the last 3.5 years. And it's so fun. I feel like he is more CEO style, very executive, like very high level. I am like details, I am operations, I am finance, like spreadsheets, that's me. And
you
so
love
it's
that
fun.
stuff.
It's so fun to like find the complementary areas of us and find a way to make it work. But I feel like in general, we're so similar.
Okay, I want to ask you seriously. I know that you've had a very exciting career that no one usually has, but I don't want to give away the spoiler, but I want to go to the really, really challenging thing that you face that's shaping a lot of this. Tell us about the hardest part of your life that you faced something big.
There's been a handful of moments that come to mind, but one of my first moments was when I had thyroid cancer at 18.
18?
And 18, yeah.
Like at graduation, you found out.
It was interesting. I was actually in finals. It was finals week, my first semester of college. And my parents got the call that it was cancer. And they intentionally did not tell me until finals were over. And to think, oh my gosh, like people get cancer when they're old and they're unhealthy. And how is this even possible? But just experiencing even a miracle when I went in for surgery where they said, if we open you up and it's actually cancer, they had a pathologist on site and they're like, if it is cancer, we'll have to remove your entire thyroid. But if it's not, we'll actually just take half of your thyroid and close you up and you'll probably be good. And what was miraculous about that whole experience was that it actually came back negative for cancer in surgery. So I still have half a thyroid. It wasn't until several weeks after that they found it. And I just feel like that changed my perspective on health. It just changed my perspective on life and relationships and what really becomes important. And so I feel like after that moment, learning osteoporosis is in my family and learning health issues that are in my family, it really pivoted me toward lifting weights and taking care of my body and really being fascinated by nutrition and fitness, which I had been, I feel like, my whole life. But this was a moment that I feel like very, very difficult, but it turned it into something beautiful, which then started my career in bodybuilding, which I know you're familiar with. And it was it was something really
Before
hard
you
for
go
me
there, I want to ask
to
you,
together.
because that's just such a big topic. I've got to have a little corner of it develop, that thyroid experience. Like, so you find out, they go in and do the surgery, and then, like, what happens? Are you going back 5 years after that and getting a clean bill of health every 5 years? Or how did that, in your particular case and at that moment in history, how did that story end, so to speak?
I hesitate because it was honestly, it was an act of God. In the moment when this was all happening, I actually had officially said yes to going on a mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And the thing is that had I come back positive for cancer, I wouldn't have been able to go. And
Wow.
so knowing I did have cancer, but I believe that it was an act of God that in surgery, that diagnosis was shielded from the eyes of the people making the diagnosis, because it was found out after the fact. Maybe, I mentioned several weeks after the surgery, but the amazing thing is that the pathologist realized that the cancer was encapsulated, which means that all the cancer was inside of the mass, which was about three centimeters. And it was all taken care of. So I didn't have to go in for surgery. I did not have to get on medication. And all of that made it possible that I was able to serve a mission in Denmark, where I spoke Danish and just had that whole experience. And I'm so grateful to God literally every day that I was able to do that.
Wow. I love that. And I didn't even know you went to Denmark on a mission. I went to Sweden, actually, so we'll have to
No
talk about
way.
that later. Yeah.
That's
And
wonderful.
since we both have an American accent, we could probably speak together because we don't sound like either of them, do we?
Serious.
Our R's don't quite roll the same as those people. Anyway,
That's awesome.
yeah. So it changed your. This is something that's really interesting. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're vertical. You're alive. You're a mother. You're just. Everything turned out so great for you, and what a rough thing to face at 18. Really makes a lot of sense having known you. So what I wonder is, to set up this next question, I just want to kind of go into it a little bit, because I think no one ever gets to ask or know about bodybuilders. And you talked about fitness and health and kind of danced around a bit. That's what you got into, right?
Right.
Tell us
It
about
was,
that. And I'll pick it apart with you if I can. Go ahead.
yeah.
Tell us how you got into it and what it means and what you won and everything.
Yeah, so basically, I felt like I needed to compete in something. I had always been in competitive sports growing up. And even in college, I was on the ballroom dance team. But that being said, you're on a team sport. And I feel like before that point, it's like running half marathons or like doing things was always something that I was very interested in. But I wanted something that I could compete in that was for me. And talked to some friends just randomly at a Halloween party, and both the husband and wife were competitors, and my husband Brian and I. By the way, Brian, he's a freak of nature. He's crazy, like in a good way. When I was
Well, I
dating
saw a picture
Brian,
of him, a profile where he was lifting something, and I got a little nervous. He made me intimidated. Yeah, he's quite a muscly guy.
he's a big guy. And I just remember too, that's another good thing about finding someone that you aspire to be like, is he was huge into fitness. And I mean, I was into it, but I didn't look like it. And so I was just the girl that was dating the super fit guy. So when I was married to him, I'm like, oh, well, I want to be the fit girl that's married to the fit guy, right? And so we started competing together. And after one show for Brian, it did not like fulfill the itch. He's like, it kind of ruined fitness for me, like the whole dieting thing. And just to like step back a little bit, basically what you do in bodybuilding is the goal is to have as much muscle as possible and get down to a very low body fat percentage. You get a spray tan. I'm wearing a glittery bikini. My husband's wearing some, swim trunks. And you get on stage and you flex, you pose, and you're trying to reflect a very proportionate, symmetrical, and aesthetic physique. And obviously there's different categories. So everybody's, being judged according to what their desired physique is, or maybe not desired physique, but the physique that they have enrolled in the category, if that makes sense.
Well, I've got to ask you something about that. When I was unafraid in a few, many years ago now, but I did Ironman races, and I was not trying to win. I just wanted to do it. So I got a little bit into fitness, and I understand a little bit about it. I wasn't a fanatic at all, and I know the body fat percentage.
Mark. You can't undercut yourself. If you did
I'm not undercutting it. It's just the facts. It's the facts. I wasn't trying to win my category or anything, but I'm aware of it, and I want you to tell me, if you will. I don't know if this is too personal, but so what % body fat was your lowest you ever got down to?
When I think back on it now, it's like it was a dangerously low body fat percentage, but I got down to 10.5%, and that was with the DEXA scan. So I know people will hold the word's passing me, bioelectrical impedance. They'll do those, like the little handheld things, or they'll do the bod pod or whatever. But DEXA scan is the most accurate body fat measuring tool that's available. And I measured 10.5 before my third show or something.
Wow. Because men and, generally, the stereotypical man and the stereotypical women have a different percentage. And so the crazed college athlete or someone doing what you're doing on the man side gets down to 7, but isn't like the lowest generally 12 of an incredibly fit female? Isn't it like 12% or something like that?
I watched a video recently that was evidence-based, and they said it's impossible for a woman to get below 10. Impossible, in air quotes. Obviously you have outliers, right? And
so you're at the bottom.
It was that. But let me tell you this, one of the reasons why I actually exited that phase of my life, which, by the way, I have so many positive and wonderful things to say about it. And just to wrap up that chapter, I guess I did become a professional bodybuilder, which makes me qualified to compete at a global level. If I ever did decide to go back, I earned what's called your IFBB Bikini Pro card. And that's the International Federation of Bodybuilding professional card, basically. That just qualifies you to compete at that level. But I'll stop there because then I have a segue to where the chapter closed.
Yeah, let's go there. But tell us your accolade. Tell us what you won. What was the most impressive thing that you pulled off in that?
Yeah, that was the IFBB Bikini Pro card. That was placing it. It was the top two. So first and second place, they earned their pro card at a big national level. And so I placed second, and it was awesome. I'm so glad. I'm honestly glad I didn't place first, because I personally did not want to go do the bikini photo shoot that all first place people get to do and go in that magazine. And I'm very modest. I value my body. I have very high respects for women, very anti-pornography, very anti sexualizing a woman's body. I very much so treated bodybuilding like a sport. And when you are in a sport, you wear a uniform, and my uniform just happened to be a sparkly bikini. Sure. And so that's kind of where I landed on that. But I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to earn my pro card, because there are competitors who will compete in who knows how many shows and never earn their pro card. And so I'm so honored, and I'm so grateful that I was able to accomplish that accolade. And so I feel like some might see it as a waste that I'm not competing anymore, and I don't even advocate for competing anymore, just from a health standpoint. But I have something really interesting. Can I add?
Yeah, go.
When you are so stage lean, and your muscles, your veins, is pretty ridiculous. And by the way, I'm 100% natural. I do not take anabolics or any PEDs or anything like that. It's very common in the bodybuilding industry to take steroids. And that was a very deliberate choice that I decided I do not want to be a part of, just for health reasons, and everybody, to each their own. But when you are so lean socially, you get insane compliments. Everyone is just like, oh my gosh, you look so shredded. You're so lean. You look so good. And it feels good to get those compliments because let's be honest, I'm not getting those as much as I am in an off season where I'm around 18 to 20% body fat, which is very healthy. And probably around where I'm at right now. It feels incredible to have body fat on you because what I'm getting at is when you're stage lean and you are dieting and basically your sleep quality is terrible, your sex drive is non-existent, your menstrual cycle can get messed up, you're constantly craving food, and your body is just like not normal. So you're getting all these positive comments about the way that you look, but you feel like crap. Which is where a lot of the times the eating disorders and where like just this distorted perspective or body dysmorphia, just there's a lot of issues, hormonal issues that can come from being that lean. And a lot of competitors will struggle after you get on stage. It's important that you put the weight back on because you can't stay stage lean forever or you will get messed up. And so you have to put the weight back on. And that can be a hard social dynamic to go from being super lean to then feeling fat or feeling not as attractive or not as desirable, or the comments go down, so your self-worth goes down. So that's kind of my line. And one of the main reasons why I decided to leave that community was just such a heavy focus on your body and your self-worth to compromise your health. Plus the industry was making just a big switch for pro sexuality. And I mentioned photo shoots and stuff, but it's very common for competitors when they look incredible, they're about to get on stage, like this super sexualized photo shoots and just what that community is just not who I am. Even though I am a pro, it's just, I needed to close that chapter and I feel really good about that choice for myself.
Yeah. Well, I'm proud to know you and that you'd behave that way. I think it's wonderful. I think it's super impressive, though. The body's an amazing thing. It's interesting whether you believe in an intelligent creator that is our parent, or you believe in you believe in both, hopefully. But even if you're just an atheist that believes in the development of the body over millions of years, billions of years. Who knows what we're going to find out? It's pretty old now, and it's 300,000, and then it goes to a million. Who knows how far it'll get back? But you really have to be awed at whatever form the intelligence is, and I believe it's a person. But if you believe in the body, you have to believe in intelligence. It's such a miraculous system, and it clearly took a lot of time and effort somehow. And it's interesting. I was listening to this somewhat spiritual message, and they were talking. They brought it up, and they talked about how important it was in that realm, which kind of caught me off guard because we usually talk away from it in spiritual things. And I started thinking about it, and both of my parents have died, and so it's a very interesting thing for me to go to the cemetery every time and think about my parents and their bodies. And I get way too literal there, and it's just a very interesting set of thoughts that's so beyond daily life and so serious. And it's just amazing what the design behind our body is, don't you think?
100%. I feel like you have a very interesting perspective on life itself, knowing how fragile it is, thinking of what a decaying, lifeless person, like how you can go from this to not, right?
Yeah.
And whether you believe in life after death or not is not the discussion, but regardless, life is fragile. And one thing I am grateful for within the bodybuilding phase of my life is that additional respect that I built for my own body, and going from being so extreme in that area and feeling what it feels like to actually be healthy and to feel functional and thriving, it's a beautiful concept. And then even on the complete opposite end of that, the competing side is becoming a mom. I'm a mom of 3. And just to be able to go through pregnancy and postpartum and to nurse my babies and just all of those things, like our bodies are seriously a miracle. It's so beautiful. And a woman's body,
unbelievable.
being able to do that is just amazing.
Yeah. And, that's a whole set of experiences that I will never have, but I've sat in the rooms and watched, and it's unbelievable. Like everything about our bodies is unbelievable. I'm so glad you got that opportunity to nearly lose it and then take it on full force and end right, treating it with total respect. What a record. What unbelievable. I want to be, we're gonna finish later on in several minutes. We're gonna finish with a premium action plan. We're gonna pick one little thing from your daytime hours that you would like to focus the listeners 1 week on, like just one little teeny thing that you think they should do next in general, your best guess. But before we do that, I want to spend some time on what you're doing now, because what you're doing now is unbelievable. So you're doing, tell me before we leave Amazon really quick, was it 1,000 videos a day? It was some ridiculous number. Was it a dozen? What you were doing, what's the high number of videos per day you've achieved in a day?
So I feel like the numbers is so relative because it's hard to conceive exactly how much. I mean, we were doing 30 videos a day, which it could sound like a lot. It could sound like a little, depending on what you mean. But
huge.
Like for probably 4 months, my husband and I, we did not go to a single friend's house. We did not watch a single show. We went to very select family events, but I kid you not, that sink or swim, we wanted out so bad. We found a side hustle and leaned into it and turned that full time. And it was a grind, but it was so amazing to be at a job, which then we're then making as much in a month that I'm, like we're making double, but we're literally dying and drowning. It's like, okay, we have to make the jump. And when we make the jump, we have to trust ourselves completely because we, don't have the safety net anymore. And I just know that if we take the time that I previously was spending in corporate and dump it into Amazon and TikTok, we will literally blow this thing out of the water and we cannot fail. We will not fail. And so it was so scary. That was probably in business, probably our scariest moment was leaving the safety net of corporate. But honestly, the best decision ever.
You guys love jumping together. I don't know. I mean, I know you said sometimes there's a time to be single, but wow, you two are good at jumping together. That's really unusual. Really.
But can I tell you something, Mark? This is actually super funny. When me and Brian, we went on our first date, we'll call it our second date. Second time hanging out, we'll call it. Yeah. And I remember we were churning ice cream. We were outside, just like the hand churning ice cream, right? It's cold outside, it's dark. And I asked Brian, second date, so yeah, tell me about this ideal woman of yours, or tell me about who you would want to marry. And he goes into such immense detail. And in my mind, I'm like, you will literally find no one else besides me.
Well, you missed it. He was describing you.
He literally was. And I'm telling myself, and it sounds so prideful, but it's not, because it's like, he's just meant to be my person. He was just crazy. And he just had such high expectations, high ambition. And I'm like, that is literally me. And we could literally do this. But we talked about marriage within 2 weeks of dating. And we're like, could we marry each other? Yeah, we could. But let's obviously keep dating. So
he had a very unusual list. She speaks Danish.
No.
She's had cancer. She's had 10.5% body fat.
No. None of those are on the list, Mark.
So So tell me, you started doing all these videos, and by the way, that is a lot of work. You know, you're setting up lighting, you're setting up angles, you have to clear the background, you have to find the back. I mean, it's just, and to place the product in the right angles and multiple, it's just a lot of work. Plus you're doing graphics on the top, and it's an extraordinary amount of editing after too, and then the posting and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a lot of work to do 30 in a day. And so where has that ended up, and tell us about where that business is before we go to the next one.
Where the business is now is it is majority passive, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's
Tell us
awesome.
what you mean by that. I mean, generally we know what it means, but tell us what you mean.
So just to back up a little bit, so the Amazon side of things, we're part of the Amazon influencer program, both my husband and I, and basically how we earn a commission is we post a video directly to Amazon, and if somebody watches our video and makes a purchase of the product, we make a small commission. And that's what basically retired me from corporate, was that specific model. And what was so wonderful about that phase, and I feel like I'm going more into like the actionable steps, and I feel like
I want to hear that. Yeah, go do it for a second.
Yeah, was 1 month we would just say yes to every single brand collaboration that would come in, and just say yes. Brian did a video review on a butt wiper, something that, like, for an elderly person where they can't reach the back end, that grabs the toilet paper, and he's literally doing this demo on the toilet. He had his clothes on, but like, we said yes to every product. And then after that month, it's like, okay, now we've got about 50 products that are just totally worthless. They probably won't sell. Let's be more strategic. So then we started to nitpick what products we're going to say yes to. So then we did that. And then it's like, okay, well, which ones sell the most? Well, the ones that are worth more. So then we started saying yes to the products that are worth more. Okay, well, then what more can we do on that? The products that are actually selling that are worth a lot. So we're starting to get e-scooters. Like, I can't even tell you, we've probably gotten like 10 e-scooters that are over $1,000 a pop. E-bikes, like, the amount of bounce houses, Mark, that we have come across, like literally over 60 bounce houses. And then being able to rent those out, and that's a whole other like side piece of income. But it's like, it's so wonderful that whatever
you're selling these things after, or renting them, or whatever's the smartest to do, right? Because you can't keep them all at your house, right? And you don't send them back to the manufacturers, right? Yeah.
No. So the idea is that we took a side hustle that was just, we can make commissions from just doing videos, to then reselling the products, to charging for brand deals, like charging maybe, anywhere from $15 to $100 a video. And then like, you want me to send you the video? Look, that's $150. Or okay, now we want to start renting the bounce houses. So it's like, the ability as an entrepreneur, or as a very motivated person in corporate, to be able to expound on what you're currently doing, and not just be okay with just getting a commission when someone buys through your link, and then TikTok rolls around, which Amazon commissions were like anywhere between 1% and 4%, and TikTok can get up to 30% commissions. And so now we are making the vast majority of our income on TikTok. You get a video that goes viral, and you can make a freaking crap ton of money. It's crazy. And so being able to just add to our repertoire of video marketing skills and making it more strategic has been so fun. And then once that became sustainable, then being able to say, okay, well, we have time and we have funds. I really want to find something that I'm passionate about. I'll be honest, I'm getting a little burnt out doing these videos. And so I really want to start a kids YouTube channel, because I'm a mom. The shows that my kids are watching these days are just trash. You can find some good ones, but it's like
addictive trash.
Trash. It's like, it's so high stim, the flashy scene cuts, the sassy characters, the AI, the cartoons, the meltdowns after screen time, like just everything about it, the more entertainment versus educational. It's just really, really hard to find the high quality stuff. And So we decided that what our bar was I want my kids to watch a real family. I want them to watch something that's low stim, not cuts all the time, but like actually like lets it play out. Natural behavior, natural interactions between parents and siblings that are healthy, and make it educational. Go to interesting places. Like instead of just watching mind-numbing stuff on YouTube, let's make it valuable. And let's try to turn this into a business because we're good at making videos. We have kids and we're now homeschooling. And something that's so important for me is spending time with my kids and providing opportunities to learn through real life and real life learning and real interaction and spending time with family, just like all the values that I feel like I needed back when I was at medical sales, when I was just like, when I was calling my nanny saying, tell me what she's eating. It's like, if that version of me could see me now, she would be so proud. But it did not come without just the steps and the steps and the, like, every single part of my story was just a stepping stone and just this desire for something more. And I know people listening out there will have their own version of those stepping stones. And I feel like it's common for people to look back and say, oh, that was such a waste of time. Or that old version, that sucked or whatever. It's like, no, like lean into and accept that you needed that to step on in order to get to this new and better version of you.
I feel like when my younger self felt that way, and maybe some other people feel that way, like you described too. Another thing is that you didn't lean into getting to know people. I mean, it takes minutes to actually pay attention to a human instead of something that you're viewing as a cog in your business wheel. And, everyone that you have to bump into to do all that you describe is an opportunity to be glad that you met people. And so there's really no room for regret. For your determination, I got to witness a little bit of your determination very closely. Really super impressive and amazing. Tell us where this channel is, because it is a reality now, and where is it, and what do they go to, and what should they look for, and tell us a little bit about that channel.
You're nice to ask. We're the Happy Hubbards on YouTube, and our last name is Hubbard. So the Happy Hubbards, family of 5, it's just at Happy Hubbards. And then on Instagram, we're at happy.hubbards. We're on 6 platforms, anywhere from TikTok, Pinterest, Lemonade, X, Facebook. We're on all the platforms at Happy Hubbards. So that's where we're at. And by the way, before we keep talking, or wherever you're wanting to take this, I do want to give you, Mark, a huge shout out. Because when we were working together at my last corporate job, the amount of value that you provided me, not only from a professional standpoint, but for my personal life and helping me have the skills, I'm still applying the skills that we talked about. And I think about them often. And so just for the listeners, I mean, I'm so happy that you guys are tuning in, and obviously you see the value that I have seen in Mark our entire relationship. And it's such an honor to be not only a part of the Bold Encounters family, but to know you, because you have a wealth of information.
You're so nice. Thanks for that plug. I don't usually get the plug. I'm usually trying to give him thank you so much. I'm so grateful for our friendship, and so grateful that Brian's in my circle too, and I haven't even met him. I can't believe all that you talk about him in and outside this conversation too. So I'll thank you for that. Yeah. So what I want to do is I want to shift now. We're gonna shift to what I call our premium action plan. And for those of you listeners who listen free, we're so thrilled that you listen and get inspired and get ideas to apply on your own. We're going to shift now, and for those that subscribe and go through the payment process of subscribing in a paid Spotify, Apple, or Supercast by going to boldencounters.tv. We'd like you to join us on the other side of that, and we're going to actually Shayla's going to pick it, one step that's tiny, that's a couple hours this week to move your career or move your daylight hours to make a difference, whether you're a homemaker or you're a PTA or you're the CEO of a 7,000 person company. She's got some great insights. We're going to go on the other side of that. So join us there. I'm Mark Cook, host of Bold Encounters. This is the show where careers become callings. What roadblocks hold you back? Everyone, even leaders, face them, but you don't have to stay stuck. Our episodes plus premium membership unlocks deeper solutions, fewer ads, and this week's action plan. This is it. To thrive in your career and find fulfillment this week, listen, join, and gift Bold Encounters Premium today. Go to boldencounters.tv and start leading your life's work right now.